All right, we're going to look at proportional relationships using tables and just kind of see some of the properties that we see as we fill out the tables of proportional relationships. So this first one, it just shows paper towels by the case. So in the table, so if you have one case, you get 12 rolls. 3 cases, you get 36 rolls. 5 cases, you get 60 rolls. And 10 cases, you get 120 rolls. So what you notice here is that they're all equivalent ratios. So if you have one case, you get 12. If you have 3 cases, you get 36. Well, 1 and 12 are equivalent ratios. If we take the cross products, 1 times 36 is equal to 12 times 3. They're both equal to 36. Likewise with 1/12 and 5/60. So 1 times 60 is 60. 5 times 12 is 60 as well. And you'll find the same thing with 10 over 120. Okay, so there's a constant number that we keep multiplying the number of cases by to get the number of rolls that would be in each case. And that would be 12, right? 1 times 12 equals 12. 3 times 12 equals 36. 5 times 12 equals 60. Okay, so that's what you keep multiplying by to get your number of rolls in a case. Okay, that 12 is also called the constant of proportionality. Okay, it's the number you're multiplying one of your number by to get the actual value of your second column. So the number you multiply the first column here by to get the answer of your second column. Okay, so continuing on. So now we've got a table with some blanks. We need to fill them in. Now it says this is proportional. So a recipe says that 2 cups of dry rice will serve 6 people. Complete the table as you answer the question. Be prepared to explain your reasoning. So we're going to assume that this is, or obviously this is going to be a proportional relationship. Every 2 cups feeds 6 people. So if 2 feeds 6, 3 will feed 9, right? Because you increase by 1.5. You increase by 1.5 here from 6 to 9. So then, how many people will 10 cups of rice serve? Well, in 10 cups, or in 10, there is 5 2s. So you'd multiply 6 by 5 and you get 30. Okay, and if you just take 2 divided by 6, 6 divided by 2, you get 3. And what you'll see is you're actually multiplying the number of cups by 3 to get your number of people to serve. And for the last one, now you're given the number of people that it needs to be served is 45. So now instead of multiplying, you're going to divide by 3, which is going to give you 15. So 15 cups is what you need to feed 45 people. Okay, this next one says a recipe says that 6 spring rolls will serve 3 people. Complete the table below. Okay, so if 6 feeds 3, 3 divided by 6 is equal to 1/2. So we're going to use that 1/2 to multiply the number of spring rolls to find out how many people it will feed. So if it's 30, 1/2 of 30 is 15. 1/2 of 40 is 20. And so now here on this last one, we're given the number of people it feeds. So instead of multiplying by 1/2, you divide by 1/2. And when you divide by 1/2, it's the same as multiplying by 2. So to find the number of spring rolls you need, you take 28 and times it by 2, which is going to give you 56. Okay, next one, making bread dough. So same thing. It says a bakery uses 8 tables of honey for every 10 cups of flour to make bread dough. Some days the baker bakes bigger batches, and some days they bake smaller batches, but they always use the same ratio. So the ratio always has to stay the same. Okay, so the cross products always have to be the same, or they always have to increase by the same number. Okay, so it says how many cups of flour do they use with 20 tablespoons of honey? Okay, so we know that for 8 tablespoons, it makes 10. You use 10 cups of flour. So when you take 8 divided by 10, you get 4/5. So now this is using the equivalent method. So if we go from 4 to 20, we have to multiply by 5. To keep that in an equivalent ratio or proportional ratio, you also have to multiply the bottom number by the same. So 5 times 5 gives us 25. Therefore, if we use 20 tablespoons of honey, you have to use 25 cups of flour. Okay, the next one gets a little tricky because it's 13. So 4 doesn't go into 13 evenly. So here I use cross product. So I set it up that, that 4/5 is equal to 13 over some number. So I'm going to use that for x. Well, if they're proportional, we know the cross products are equal. Oops, that's what I did right here. Okay, so 13 times 5 is 65. 4 times x is 4x. So if 65 is equal to 4x, or in other words, 4 times some number gives us 65, well, to undo multiplication, we divide. So we divide this by 4, that is going to leave us with x. 65 divided by 4 is going to give us 16 1/4. So 16 1/4 cups of flour is needed for 13 tablespoons. Okay, and last, we know for 16, or if there's 20 cups of flour, let's find a ratio that is equivalent. Well, we know that 5 times 4 gives us 20, so 4 times 4 would give us the number of tablespoons, and so 4 times 4 is 16. So that's just using equivalent ratios or cross products to find our missing value. Okay, and then last it says, what is the proportional relationship represented by this table? Well, it's honey to flour, but the proportional relationship is a 5 to 4, or 5/4. So we're multiplying the number, the tablespoons of honey that we use by 5/4 to get the number of cups of flour that we need to make this bread. Okay, and then I just did a couple here. 8 times 5/4 is 40/4, which equals 10. 20 times 5/4, 20 times 5 is 100, divided by 4 gives us 25. And that's what you'll see here in these two examples. Okay, last one. It says quarters are equivalent in value to dimes. 4 quarters are equivalent in value to 10 dimes. How many dimes equal the value of 6 quarters? Well, here I know that to go from 4 to 6, that is a multiple of 1.5. So 1.5 times 10 would be 15. Okay, likewise for 14, we know that for every 4, there is 10. So if 4 times 3 would be 12, so that would be 10 times 3, which would be 30. And then you have 2 more quarters, right, which is 50 cents. So there's 5 more dimes plus the 30. So it's 14 to 35. Or another way to think of this is, Yeah, exactly. If we know that there's 4 quarters in a dollar, right? That's going to be 100 pennies. So 14 divided by 4 is going to be 3.5. Well, every dollar has 10 dimes in it, so 3.5 times 10 gives us 35. Okay, and this can all go back to what 1 quarter is equal to, and that would be 25 cents. So that's going to be equal to 2.5 dimes, right? Because that 2.5 dimes, well, 2 dimes is 20 cents, and then half of a dime would be 5, so that gives us 25. So that also gives us our constant of proportionality. This is the number that we multiply the number of quarters we have by to find the number of dimes. Okay, are you ready for more? You can look through it to see if you can follow the work. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But right now, when I looked up the price of copper, it is $9.13 per kilogram. So you can go through the steps to find if there's 3.11 grams of copper in a penny, you can find what that is worth. All right. Okay, now just for the exit ticket. So we're doing the same thing. We're looking at a ratio. We know it's got to be proportional, so we need to go through and fill out or answer these questions here and fill out the chart. So it says, how many cups of yellow paint should you mix with 1 cup of blue paint to make the same shade of green? Okay, so we know if you have 2 cups of blue, you need 10 cups of yellow. Well, to find the number that we're multiplying our blue cups by, we just take our 10 divided by our 2. That's going to give us 5. So now, if we're using 1, we multiply 1 by 5 and you get 5. So if you have 1 cup of blue, you need 5 cups of yellow. And what you'll see is 1 is half of 2, 5 is half of 10. So that checks out as an equivalent ratio. Okay, and that 5 is also our constant of proportionality. Okay, it just says to make another ratio of paint. So I said, well, we'll use 4 blue cups. So then you'll need 20 yellow cups, because 4 times 5 is 20, right? The ratio would be 1/5. If you times 1 by 4, you get 4. You have to times the bottom by 4 as well to get 20 to keep those ratios equivalent or keep them proportional. Okay, what is the proportional relationship represented by this table? It's just the cups of blue paint to the cups of yellow paint. And then the constant of proportionality, that's 5, and that just represents the number you're multiplying the number of cups of blue paint by to find how many yellow cups you need to keep the shade of green the same.